Pre-recorded, this is the Red Ticket News Podcast. I am Brian Buckley. This is being recorded on August 1st, MLB trade deadline. In fact, that's what we're going to be talking about. You can always listen to the show and any of the other shows in the past on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, YouTube, and Google Play. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And you can follow me on Twitter at BrianBuck13 and at Red Ticket Blues. Today we have our old friend Simon from Yonkers on the podcast, talk a little bit about what happened with the trade deadline in baseball in the New York area. The Yankees making tons of moves. The Mets even made a move too. They joined in, said, hey, we're here. Give us attention. A little split on the trade in Mets land. Yankees cleaning house, what they needed to do. So let's talk to Simon and everything else. So we welcome in our old friend of the podcast, Simon in Yonkers. And Simon, I think before we start, I think we need to give a standing ovation. I don't know if you're standing or not, doesn't matter. But to Brian Cashman for getting rid of dead weight, right? Correct, right? Clap, yes.
Oh, absolutely. He chopped it and he threw it into the water. Bye, Ivanova. Hope to never see you again.
And there's two questions I have to ask you. The first one is Justice Sheffield related to Gary Sheffield?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
He's his nephew.
And the second one is, where were you when you found out Tyler Clippard was coming home?
Oh my God. Well, first of all, I was actually in church saying a novena that he would come back. And then
Congratulations. Lord, hear our prayer.
Oh, man. Yeah, Yankee Clippard. So happy to have him back aboard.
How lucky is he, though? He gets to come home to his old homes, back to back. He can go back to the Mets today and then the Yankees just in a few days. I mean, what a homecoming. I mean, good for him.
Yeah, no, it definitely when you're out in Arizona when it's 120 degrees and you got a rattlesnake biting you on the ankle, it's actually nice to come back to the South Bronx and the auto junkyards outside of Flushing, Queens.
All right, so like we said, the Yankees have gotten rid of a ton of dead weight, and right now their new team is sort of playing against the Mets. The Mets are up 1-0. Not that it matters by the time anyone listens to this, but what do you think? Let's look at a whole here. Do you share my ovation for Brian Cashman, what he's done with all the crap that he's gotten rid of?
Yes, there's absolutely no way to look at it except that he totally turned the farm system from a middle of the pack, wing and a prayer guys in low A into one of the best systems in the league. He took undisputably two best prospects. One of them, you said, Gary's nephew, Justice Sheffield.
Okay, folks, by the way, they're not related, but it just it seemed to go on Twitter with a ton of people that just could not figure it out. But I think for the record, I believe that they are not related, correct?
And Frazier from Cleveland.
Right.
Frazier is actually a MLB, very near MLB ready bat in AAA. He's very atypical of the usual Yankee prospect that's always, 18, 19, you have to hope that they stay healthy and stay productive. He's a guy that could actually slide into the lineup next year. And if you look at what they got for Chapman, Gleyber Torres, he's a shortstop, and everybody says, well, you already have a shortstop ahead of him and Mateo and Didi. It's never bad to have talent. You could use him as a piece in a trade for Chris Sale or whomever in the offseason, or he could slide to third or to second. Having all these guys is not a bad thing to have. And it's not just the quantity of the prospects, it's the quality. They have 7 top 100 MLB prospects right now, and there was never a time in the last 25 years that you could say that. So he essentially turned 2 relievers and a half a season of Beltran into possibly the next core of the successful Yankee group. So there's absolutely nothing bad you can say about Cashman.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think some people are, like you said, some people are complaining, well, they already have Mateo there. Well, these are chips. This is like investing in a stock. I mean, you're getting this, and then you can sell the stock when you want to. I mean, what he's done is amazing. I think what we hear every year is get rid of Girardi, get rid of Cashman. If there's no World Series winner, but you have to say to Cashman now, this is an amazing job. And he had some harsh words for the current team, or the once former New York Yankees. Said, you're not a playoff team if you can't beat the Tampa Bay Rays. So he just said that before the game. So channeling fucking George Steinbrenner right there, the old,
which is right. What are you going to do? Pat them on the head for being at 500 after the All-Star break? It's done. It it's time to break up the group. And the fact that he got 8 guys for what essentially amounted to a bunch of crap that you weren't going. They're all great ball players, but the guys that had no use on a rebuilding team is probably his best job as a GM. And I always thought he's been a great GM as far as trades go. His free agent record is a lot more spotty. You can go into the Pavano and the
his pitching record in the free agency is just abysmal.
And also the team draft record, they haven't really produced a whole lot out of their number one picks over the years. Even now, the guys from the 13 draft, Ty Hensley, he's out. Ian Clarkin just went down with a torn meniscus. He's done for the year. They haven't done a great job of actually developing their own talent. I don't think it's the worst thing to pluck other good talent from other organizations. It's like I said, the Yankees couldn't develop shit if you gave them a laxative, and that's absolutely true. There's absolutely.
It's been a long time. You're right. Thinking about, man, wow, Cano, that class of people. Other than that, and that wasn't even that many. Man, yeah. I'm trying to think who on the team right now. Gardner
is one. They do a great job of developing relievers. All those power arms out of the back of the bullpen, like Dave Robertson. Even what you saw with Rumbelow, Goody, Pinder, the guys that they have, some are hurt. They do a good job of getting those guys in the late rounds of drafts, and catchers too. Whether it was Montero, Sanchez, Romine, they do a good job building up the middle there, but everywhere else is bare. They haven't produced a middle of the order bat in God knows how long, or top of the rotation guy. I know Kennedy and Hughes went on to greener pastures, but they're still, not what they could have been or should have been here. So, you go out there, you poach some talent from the Cubbies and the Indians, and you hope it all goes well.
You talked about Clint Frazier, and it's always awkward to see grown men, whether they're affiliated with baseball or just Joe Schmoes on Twitter, get all excited about a young man's body. It's kind of a creepy meat market that's just. I don't know. I always feel awkward when people are like, he's got, you should see the calves on him. He's got some big arms, that jet red hair. It sounds like some sort of like Tinder profile, outside of a baseball player, but he had to get his hair cut because that was a big deal. Because, he's part of the Yankees now. When, completely out of the box question here, when are the Yankees going to get rid of that rule? It's ridiculous.
I would have to think sometime in the next 10 years.
It's got to end, right?
There's nothing that really brings me to believe that they would actually do it, but if it would be, probably say 2023, let's call it.
I almost feel like they're hanging on to it just because that's their rule. Like, they don't even believe in it anymore. It's just like, that's our rule, so we're sticking to it.
Well, yeah, they also had a rule about no visible tattoos, but then once CeCe Sabathia was a free agent and AJ Burnett, they're like, oh, yeah, no, it's fine. You guys are good, so we'll let you slide. The same thing. Somebody will make a hair stand one day.
That's true.
Somebody's going to say, I just won't cut my hair, and the Yankees will do nothing about it. They'll be like, all right, well, there goes that policy.
Yeah, because he actually, the funny picture on Twitter was, someone was about to cut his hair, and then I read something from one of the baseball, big source guys. They love their sources, saying that he contacted the Yankees, and he understands their policy, yet there's still a lot of hair there. So maybe it's lessening. I mean, here we are in the podcast talking hair, right?
I know. Well, look at Donnie Baseball. He got benched, and he's also in Monument Park. I mean, so they don't mess around. Yeah. But so somebody's going to force the issue in the next couple of years. It's a stupid policy. It's complete idiocy at this point. It's just, dude, because you could have a mohawk. You could have all these other stupid haircuts. Like, well, if somebody has something down to the shoulder, I mean, Gamble, too. I think Gamble had some golden locks.
Well, he's in the lineup tonight, doesn't he? Yeah. Is he in the lineup? I know he got called up. I don't think.
No, he's not in the lineup tonight, but I know he's got some like blonde surfer hair. He's got something going on. It's got a little flip going to it. It's gorgeous.
I don't know if the Yankees are worried about they're going to like corrupt the youth or something. I don't get it, man.
I don't know. I think it's like the Footloose parents. It's just it's very stuffy. There's no dancing in the clubhouse.
You don't know that. Let's see. We're going to go. Well, Beltran, obviously, that was like the last piece today with Beltran being traded. And we all knew it was going to happen. Even Beltran said it. He's like, after they got smoked by the Rays, he goes, I had a feeling something was going to happen. And he then gave out the customary, when I really like the team, I'd be open to signing there in the offseason, which, you could put that almost at zero because it usually never happens. Am I wrong? Does that happen? Am I missing a time when that happened?
I don't think so. I can remember more times when it didn't happen.
Yeah,
I think like John Lester. Remember John Lester was all locked?
Oh, yeah. All the Red Sox fans were like, yeah, it's cool. Just go to Oakland, man. He'll be right back here in spring training. It's cool.
I don't know why anybody would want Beltran back anyway. He's going to be 40 next year. And they actually lucked out because I thought the Yankees were going to give him the qualifying offer, thinking that he would decline it and they'd get the pick or something like that. Except then he would accept it, and then he would be making $17 million. His knees would go out. Just be lucky that what you got out of him, and he played very well this season. He was one of the only entertaining guys to watch in the lineup. You got last year's number 4 overall pick, who a lot of people aren't very high on, but for half season of Beltran, it's a good return. Plus, they got 2 other guys. So, thanks for the season, Carlos. Please don't come back. We're good here.
What if they offered him like a 1-year deal next year for like $10 million?
I still wouldn't want him back. It's just they have such an army of outfielders at AAA and AA. They got more outfielders than they know what to do with. There's no point to bringing back Beltran, especially if you're still going to be in the quote-unquote rebuilding. I don't know what the team's going to look like next year. And also they have Judge, don't forget that.
That's true.
So you would have Judge theoretically taking over right, and he's going to get some at-bats in September as a little bit of a showcase. But even if Judge went down with an injury or struggled, they still have so many options. There's no reason to bring back Beltran. He's so one-dimensional. He's a bat and nothing else, and they have enough one-dimensional guys on the team.
Here's the thing with Judge. I don't watch any AAA games. He seems too big to play the outfield. I mean, I don't know shit about putting together a player or anything like that. You don't see outfielders 6'8". Shouldn't he be playing first base? Maybe that's just the old school, like I'm a WFAN caller thinking I know baseball just because that's the way it is bullshit. But isn't he too big? He's going to fall or hurt something, right?
I think eventually he's going to be a guy that would be moved to first base. And like I said, I know nothing. I'm not Judge's, mother. I don't know what his inseam in his waist is or anything. But I think he could end up developing a bad knee or something, just being that size and roaming the outfield.
That's what I mean.
But you would have to be able to hit homers, be that corner position guy where you're belting 30 a year. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So that other guy that you were talking about, how they got in the Beltran deal, the number 4 pick in the draft last year, Dylan Tate, I believe that's his name.
Yes.
He struggled a lot this year. He's only 18, 19 years old, but he had an ERA in the 5s and single A. Yeah, a lot of Yankee fans upset about that. I guess they think that people immediately are great at that age. I thought it was a pretty good deal. I don't care. I mean, you get rid of Beltran and you've got the 4th pick in the MLB draft last year. I still think that's good regardless.
Got a little bit of a lotto ticket. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
When you saw the haul that they got for Chapman and Miller, and don't forget everybody else that was trading. I mean, the prices, it was definitely a seller's market, and the sellers made out very well for themselves. But when you saw the returns for everybody else, I think you were underwhelmed by Beltran. But, the number 4 overall pick last year, that's a kid that needs some seasoning. That's a kid that still be worked with. I know he has an ERA north of 5, but, the stats don't really matter at that age. Some say he has 3 pitches, he has the stuff to be top rotation, or that he'll end up in the bullpen. So basically they know as much as we do right now. Fact of the matter is, if you have good player development, maybe you turn him into a player, or you rebuild him enough that he could be, the 2nd or 3rd guy in a trade later down the road.
I love those terms from like baseball people to make the rest of us feel like idiots. They're like, yeah, player development. Yeah, you don't know anything about that. You're a schlub on your couch picking your ass. You don't know about player development.
I wouldn't know the first thing to say to a baseball player if I saw him struggling on the field. I would just be resigned to do what I do on the couch, where I just scream and curse. And I know that probably crushes their confidence because they're still children. So, I'm the last one to ask about player development. Hopefully the Yankees know, since they're a baseball organization. I hope that they know how to actually make these guys better players and get them through the pipeline, in one piece. So.
But outside of the trades, which have all been great, like we talked about, there's also rumors now that You've heard the rumors about Teixeira and A-Rod being cut this year, which I don't understand the Teixeira part because he's done at the end of the year. What's the point? Just keep him there. But this A-Rod one, I didn't think would happen this year either because it's just he's sort of a leader in the clubhouse and, all that good cheesy shit. But I'm just reading here in the Daily News that was, let's see, this was published, I'd say about a half hour ago. That there's a source. There is a source, and there's one other trade we forgot to talk about, but we'll talk about that in a minute. That A-Rod may be gone this year. Did you hear about this, Simon?
Yes. It makes sense to cut him. I mean, what's he here for? And don't give me this, he's a good leader, he's a good buddy. I mean, he can't play anywhere. He can't do anything. And also, that's Girardi setting him up for failure, too, because you bench him for a week, and then you throw him in clean up, and then he strikes out 4 times. But I would cut A-Rod because he's just taking up room at this point. Teixeira I wouldn't cut. Teixeira I would keep playing because they have no backup first baseman.
Exactly.
You have fucking Ike Davis in AAA. Bird is theoretically taking over next year, so there's already the successor. I don't really get what purpose cutting Teixeira would, just to except to appease stupid people. Oh, we want them all gone. Trade them all. Shoot them. But.
Yeah, they're definitely started to get to that point. Like before the trade deadline today at 4:00, there was like, come on, get rid of this guy, get rid of this guy. Then everyone, you could see some people really going for the idea of get rid of everyone on this team. Some people they have to play the game. They wanted every pitcher gone. I saw some people trade the entire rotation. It's relax. But here's Girardi about that A-Rod thing. He says, quote, I'm not too sure there won't be other things done during the course of this week, too. And then people, the Yankee beat reporters asked if other things alluded to possibly making a move with Rodriguez. Girardi quickly clarified to say, I'm not talking about that. Obviously, we called up 2 players really quickly when I said that. That's not what I meant. So, I don't know. Maybe Joe.
Oh, Joe's feisty.
So I don't know what that means. I don't know what he meant by his first statement. Maybe he spoke a little too soon. I'm not sure.
It's funny because Girardi usually he's very tight-lipped and close
very
to the
much
vest. I'm surprised he would say anything like that to begin with. But I think they're going to cut A-Rod at some point. Some people think that they're going to hold on to him to hit his 700 home run, as if anybody still gives a shit.
I don't. Exactly.
That's not even a milestone. You're not even passing anybody. And also they bench him all the time. How is he supposed to even hit home runs? He gets 1 at-bat a month. I mean, come on.
Even the biggest A-Rod fan, I mean, are you really that excited if he hits 700 home runs? I mean, really, is that really something to be like, yeah, exactly. Like you said, what is it doing?
It's those round numbers, fam. They bring people in the seats. I know, everybody's going to start packing the stadium all of a sudden to see, number 700. It even sounds weird. It doesn't even roll off the tongue.
No, it doesn't.
700 Club.
Michael K.
Oh, wait, no, Pat Robertson. Wait, that is a thing. Never mind.
Michael K. can say the stadium is alive. Yes, he's A-Rod's going for 700. That'll be just the same amount of people there.
K lost it. I'm not actually a K hater because he used to have some good calls, but he really killed it with Jeter's walk-off hit in his final game. Yeah. We're fantasy, become reality. I mean, that was so bad.
Did you have any doubt?
I really just want the Yankees to never have a milestone moment again while he's behind the mic.
I thought once I saw Jeter, get that hit, and then the RBI scored. They won the game. I knew he was going to come up with something just cringeworthy, and he did it. He went beyond my expectations. Actually, it was just.
But that was rehearsed, though. There's no way that he came up with that on the spot.
That's true. You're right.
Some of his older calls, like 01 World Series, see ya. You could tell there was genuine emotion. He was caught up in the moment. It was what he'd been waiting for as an announcer. But that last one, that was so bad, And I don't want him to say anything for Rodriguez's 700. But while there's 4 people in the stands, no. Just footnote
I didn't hear the call, but I saw somebody tweet it today. Somebody called Mike Francesa to say, I was a Yankees fan, but now I'm a Mets fan because I hate Michael K.
Oh man, you picked the worst time to become a Yankee fan, buddy.
Imagine hating Michael K so much that you stopped rooting for the team.
That's a bit much.
You could just put mute on. And the other trade I was alluding to that we didn't talk about was our old friend Ivan Nova. Ivan, who was once self-declared the greatest pitcher in the world, traded for the always popular player to be named, two players to be named later. Will you miss Ivan Nova?
No, I don't think his landlords are going to miss him either. Wasn't he like shitting on the floor or something?
Yo, that's a thing. Same thing at Des Bryant's house. There's shit everywhere. These people not. What is
with these people in shit?
I'm assuming it has to be animal shit. Like, why wouldn't you go in a toilet? I don't care how rich.
Can you just be that arrogant and you have that much money that you could just like shit on the floor? I don't know. I would love to get to that position in life. I'm not even hating. Don't get me wrong.
Imagine just getting up from the chair and just going, man, I'm rich. Right here.
I do actually have an opinion on this trade, and it's less about Nova. Screw Nova, who cares? The Pittsburgh Pirates are an absolute disgrace of an organization. They traded 2 of their top 10 prospects, along with Francisco Liriano, to the Toronto Blue Jays just to shed $15 million in salary. I mean, if you think the Steinbrenners are bad, you don't know what bad is. People don't know what bad ownership is. They actually traded 2 of their prospects just to save money. This is like somebody sitting at a dinner table with you and asking for a separate check. It's insulting. If I were the Blue Jays, I would have said, just keep the prospects, bud. Just give us we'll take Liriano's money. This is
weak. That is weak. And you wonder why for the longest time they never competed. And maybe
they've
sort of hit their peak
you see
now.
The Penguins and the Steelers just dominating shit, winning a championship every other year, and you're sitting here like pinching pennies, winning the cheese dicks, second wild card, losing the game, cutting more salary. They're an abomination. And that's after all the money they collected from revenue sharing. I remember Deadspin had that article a few years back. I think they had collected $30 million in revenue sharing over the last couple over a span of 5 years or something. They're horrible, but they have Nova, so you know.
Yeah, that should be good. Ivan Nova, you want to feel old. Ivan Nova has been in the New York Yankees system since 2004.
Oh, that's right. I saw something about that on Twitter. Now Gardner is the longest tenured homegrown Yankee.
That's amazing to think about. That is.
Yeah, he was an international free agent signing, I guess. What year did Nova come up? 2010?
He may have contributed to 2009. Why do I feel that? Or maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't. No.
Is there anybody else that you would have traded on the Yanks today?
I would have liked to man. I looked at Evaldi, but again, who's going to want that? And then we're at this certain point, you're just decimating the entire pitching staff just to do it. Would
you have cast the bait on Tanaka?
I don't know who would pick that up. That's a large contract. I think he was,
because you saw
who's going to take that.
Rich Hill was the best pitcher on the market. Rich Hill hasn't thrown 100 innings his whole career. I mean, Tanaka would have been clearly far and away the best starting pitcher on the market. And I'm not saying that they would have had to trade him. They don't have to, but because he has the opt-out next year, and he's probably going to opt out as long as he's healthy. I'm wondering if they could have gotten a small ransom for Tanaka. We'll never know.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised that they were so opposed to actually even putting his name out there.
Yeah, you never heard his name. The McCann deals you heard going back to Atlanta, those died down, and you heard for a while Nova to Florida, Miami, but that fell apart. And then out of nowhere, right towards the end of the trade deadline, he was dealt to Pittsburgh. So this is the New York Yankees now. Are you excited about the rest of the season, Simon?
I'm still excited just because I love baseball and I love the Yanks, and I'm hoping that we see some guys, aforementioned Judge, Tyler Austin. We might see some of the pitchers from down there. You'll see some guys in September that will contribute to the future, and that'll be something to look forward to. I also think that they still have some talent to evaluate going forward. I mean, people still talk about Pineda, Evaldi. They still have another year left. Maybe they get it together because they have the stuff. They have it there.
But it's so erratic, both of those.
It's so erratic for the both of them. I feel like one of them could still be something. More so Evaldi, because he started throwing a splitter a little bit more.
Right.
Pineda feels like very uncoachable, unteachable. He's got like bad body language. I know this sounds like stuffy old white guy like analysis, but like anytime, like
No,
when
he
his
totally
teammates, like,
does though. I'm sorry to interrupt you. He totally does though. He has that like he puts his hands on his hips. He looks like a big ostrich. Like when he gives up a home run, he's just sort of with those long ass legs, just angry. And I don't know about you, but I mean, I'm not saying he's lazy in his preparation. I feel like he's lazy on the mound sometimes. He'll throw a great pitch and then he'll just be like, I don't really want to put a lot of effort in this. I'm just gonna throw a fastball right down the middle. Boom, goodbye.
yeah, there's been a lot of mistake pitches, and he's always like, he's the only one in the stadium who's ever befuddled that it traveled 450 feet. He's like, oh, how did I do that?
Actually, you know what? Ivan Nova was another one like that. He was another one who pitched like shit and then was completely perplexed when Girardi would come out there and be like, you're done. Him and Pineda are both like, what are you talking about? Come on, it's 7 runs I gave up. Why are you taking me out here? I'm a good pitcher.
I mean, I guess when you're an athlete, you always believe in your ability more than anybody else.
Yeah, don't give me that cliche bullshit
like
for that, though, for 7 runs.
But there is, like, bad body language. There's, like, the throwing the teammates under the bus with the dirty looks. After, there's, like, stuff like that. I think he's less salvageable. And I know everybody's going to talk about, oh, well, he's got a low walk rate and he strikes out a lot of batters, which is good stuff. But after so many years, I mean, if you're still have an ERA north of 6. I mean, what good is it? You have nice peripherals and nothing else. I still think Evaldi might somewhat be salvageable, and I'm hoping that he can take somewhat of a next step, maybe in low pressure games from now until the end of the season.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I can't get crazy about either of those two just because they are what they are when they say good stuff. They have good stuff, and every guy I hear that has good stuff, that's their attribute, it means you don't know what's going to happen. I guess because they have good stuff. So who the hell knows? The Mets quickly picked up Jay Bruce today. It almost didn't happen because medical doctors are trying to do a little okey doke with some prospects.
That's right. They held Brandon Nimmo out of the deal, and they sent them Dilson Herrera, which I know Mets Twitter was upset about.
Well, that's just another day. Mets Twitter not happy about something. So
you're not wrong.
Yeah, Jay Bruce. I don't ever trust anyone with 2 first names, so watch out for him. He's probably got bodies in his basement. But Francesco said, I don't know if it's enough for them, and I kind of side with him. I mean, it's a good addition, but I don't know if that's enough to really get them back in it. Because in reality, I mean, the Mets are still living off that first 2-3 weeks of the season. They really haven't been that good.
They have not been. Their offense is almost historically terrible at this point.
Yeah.
With runners in scoring position, they're due to have a lower RISP average than the 1969 San Diego Padres. I wasn't around for that.
Very good. That was good.
I've been told that they were really bad with runners in scoring position. I think Brucey Hill hit a few bombs, though. He's not good defensively. He's like one of those big lumbering ox guys that kind of just mashes. He's like Adam Dunn.
Right.
Some less strikeouts. They need power. You need to do something. I don't mind them forcing the issue a little bit because I think the worst thing you could do if you're a team like the Mets that's like right in between the worst thing to do is just kind of sit there and do nothing. Dilson Herrera, I mean, they'll survive. But to go for it just for one more year while they still have this little band together, I don't mind the move. I don't think it's going to be what Cespedes was last year because Cespedes was so unreal. And also that coincided with Conforto coming up and he was tearing the cover off the ball the second half of last season. There was a lot that went right just besides Cespedes. But I think the Mets are just a little banged up now. They have too many guys that are hurt, even if it's just nagging injuries like the one Asdrubal Cabrera got yesterday or the more long-term ones like Harvey. I don't think they have the horses, but I also admire them for actually going out and doing something as opposed to just sitting on their hands.
I had a feeling they were going to do nothing, yeah.
Which would be very typical of the Wilpons.
Exactly.
I think it's hard when they actually go out and make an acquisition, make a trade, add some extra payroll. It's tough to kill them only because they didn't for so long.
All right, Simon. Well, we've talked about the baseball going on right now. And in New York, obviously, these two teams are going nowhere, shit straight into the ground, and we can't enjoy it. But, there's an old baseball movie that a lot of us enjoy that you told me that you do not enjoy. And people are probably going to roll their eyes and may scream at others when they hear this. But you are not a fan of the movie The Sandlot. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct.
So have you always not been a fan of The Sandlot?
I'm a little sick and fatigued by this 90s nostalgia from people my age. I'm sick of overrating things that were okay, but certainly weren't great. Every time you go to a bar, you see some fat 28-year-old in flip-flops and a "You're Killing Me" Smalls t-shirt that they bought at Target, like they're the first one to own it. People overly quote the movie. It's not good. It's not even a top 10 baseball movie. It's not a top 10 kids movie. It's just there. I don't know why people love it so much. I think they like it when the kid makes out with the lifeguard at the pool.
Oh, you mean Wendy Peppercorn?
Wendy Peppercorn. Yeah, when the kid, I think that's sexual assault. I don't even know if you could do that anymore. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, no. People would be very, very upset about that. They'd be storming the theaters with signs and all sorts of...
God. Can you imagine?
All sorts of snarky tweets and, oh, God, the shaming, the retweet shaming.
The retweet shaming that would go on for poor, what's that kid's name? Squints?
Squints, yeah.
Squints. It was just never my movie. I liked it. It was okay. Also, that was like one of those, I don't know what was going on during that era where Dennis Leary was in everything, where he kind of plays the prick dad with the side part, like the stepdad.
I was just going to get this. Listen, I do not hate the movie like you do. I will say this. It has not aged well with me. I did like it when I was a kid, but now I look back and the corniness that was the movie does not resonate in a good way with me. And the first thing I was just going to jump into there is exactly Dennis Leary, who at the time really was just doing raunchy shit, raunchy comedy, excessive smoking nonstop. And he plays like this, not mean, but sort of like gruff stepdad that just does not fit his role for what was going on. I mean, he's talking about violating Cindy Crawford and whatnot in MTV ads, and now all of a sudden he's a stepdad trying to be nice to this loser kid.
Yeah, that was not in his wheelhouse at all. I don't think he got too much screen time. How'd they get? Wasn't James Earl Jones?
Yes,
like
he was.
Old guy.
Yes.
How did they get these people on the payroll for this movie? I don't get it.
You're going to play the blind old black guy, and you're going to have the one with the knowledge, and you're going to teach all the kids about baseball.
What happened to the ball at the end of the movie? I don't even remember the Babe Ruth ball.
The ball. Okay, so the dog took the ball, and the dog, which I still never even understood as a kid, the dog was in all of their imaginations a really big dog, but then they saw the dog at the end, and it was really small, but they had just run from the dog. It was a very fucking weird idea. Yeah. So, and I remember, not to sound like a strange person, but because I've heard plenty of people say this, there is a shot in the movie where the dog's balls are right in the camera, and it sort of becomes a rallying cry.
That was probably the best part of the movie, if I'm being honest.
It was not a rallying cry.
Dog
totally made
balls.
That up.
I also hate, not to get into a whole bunch of things I hate, because then we'll be doing this for 3 hours, but that was also like a very popular time for like 1950s coming-of-age comedies.
Right.
They're so fucking cliche. I hate stuff like that. I hate like Billy Crystal, I grew up in Brooklyn, played stickball, like kind of comedy, and that's what this falls into, and it like bothers me enormously. I hate anything from that era. I hate timepieces that glorify like innocuous childhood, and that's another reason I hate the movie. It's basically a pile of vomit-inducing crap. And if you want to go watch a good baseball movie, go watch Mr. Baseball. Why doesn't anybody like that movie? That was a hysterical movie with Tom Selleck where he's like an aging star and he goes to Japan. Have you ever seen that?
Confession. I've never seen that movie. I know of the movie. I've never seen it.
It's good. It's on cable like 5 times like a day. You'll find it sometime. It's good.
Yeah. So, what was there? I was going to make another comment about the Sandlot. Did you like the end when they fast forward and Squints has become the announcer and Benny the Jet Rodriguez is now being a pinch runner for the Dodgers? Did you like that coming of age ending to this timeless classic?
I know that happens all the time, where you become like the announcer, where you and your buddy become the announcer and player of an iconic franchise. I like Benny Rodriguez's weird like pedophile mustache.
Oh yeah, total pervy.
He was, they were trying to go for like a Keith Hernandez thing there, you know. He looks up at the booth and gives him a thumbs up. Like, how weird would that be? Like, imagine if Jeter had done that after his last hit to Michael Kay. Like, hey, so weird. Smalls is still wearing the stupid dirty hat.
How does that fit him?
I don't get. Is it adjustable? I don't know what was going on. Why would you be wearing that same dirty hat? Aren't you on TV or something? Like, isn't the camera going to catch you?
Yeah, why would you be wearing a hat at all, most likely? I mean, the only people who could probably get away with that was like Bob Uecker or Harry Carey or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it because there was no
I think we're
cell
totally
phones or anything back then. Maybe you could get away. I mean, think about it. Like Rizzuto used to leave in the bottom of the ninth because there was no post game. There was no anything. He would just jump on the bridge. So maybe there was a time where you could wear a disgusting putrid hat during a baseball game, while you were calling it. But I'm going to call bullshit on that.
Usually back then, with Rizzuto and Roy White and was it Bill White? The only time you ever saw them was in the beginning of the game, and they just said hi, welcome, and then you never really saw them again. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't imagine John and Sue's wearing their Sunday worst to the ballpark and then leaving in the ninth inning.
Imagine if they were in the booth actually wearing the bullpen jackets and everything, those satin ones,
the ones. Oh yeah, those ones with the big Yankees and script across it.
That you see old men wearing when out at the mall or something. It's just yeah, I don't know about that choice there. I probably should have gone out in public in that one.
I think John should wear that hat that the press people used to wear. They used to put the little card in it that said press.
Yeah, I could see him pulling that off.
Yeah, Susan, she could rock the trench coat and the little press placard on top of her hat.
I could see that. All right, Simon. I think that's about it. I appreciate you coming on. I get ready for some hate about Sandlot. I can tell you that right now because that's something that belongs in the Smithsonian, and you just trashed it to death.
It was my absolute pleasure. I used that word way too much today. I said absolute, but it was my pleasure to do so.
All right, Simon, thank you very much for coming on the Red Ticket Blues podcast.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
There he is, Simon from Yonkers. And remember, send any hate to him on Twitter regarding Sandlot or anything else at SMARQS Marks. That is his Twitter name. So hope everyone enjoyed that. Simon always brings a interesting comedic edge to the podcast that I can't bring. It's a Smarks brand that is truly individual. So hope everyone enjoyed that. Later on this week in the Thursday Talk edition, we will have a big guest. They're all big guests, but legendary sports writer for the Boston Globe, Bob Ryan, will be on the Red Ticket Blues podcast. So be sure to listen to that. And where can you listen to it, you idiot? I apologize. It's on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, YouTube, and Google Play. And if you didn't know that by now, then now you know. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter at BrianBuck13 and at Red Ticket Blues. And remember to subscribe so you don't miss any of those episodes, all right? And leave a review if you're a nice person. If not, well. Anyways, with all that being said, I'm out of here.